good morning. It's Rebecca here. Happy Monday to all of you over on LinkedIn, over on YouTube, and over in our Facebook community and our Facebook page. So I am here for yet another fabulous client showcase. For those people that have been tuning in with Sarah and myself for the last couple of weeks, we have been showcasing people that we've been working with either in a client to coach capacity or a supervisor to supervisee capacity. So I'm interested and really excited to hear from today's client showcase, and we are going to be talking all about supervision. So welcome. I can see a few people that already started to join, and Sarah has said, morning, happy Monday. So happy Monday to you, Sarah. So for those people that are thinking, who is or are Sarah and Rebecca, and who are the Coaching Catalysts? And I know for those people that have heard this several times before, bear with me, and I will just introduce you and us to the world. So Sarah and myself, we are co-founders of the Coaching Catalyst, and you can see Sarah in the lovely yellow dress in the top left hand corner. It's left on my screen. I don't know if it's right on yours. So we are ICF accredited coaches. We are also coach trainers for leading coach training organizations, and we are also coach supervisors. And together, Sarah and I really do bring a wealth of experience in the education sector, in the coaching industry, and we have merged them all together to support coaches and professionals to reach their full potential. So over in the Catalyst, doors are open this week to our collective. For the first ever time, we've opened doors to something that Sarah and I have been working passionately on for the last couple of months. And the Coaching Catalyst Collective is a hub of amazing coaches from all around the world, all looking to enhance their coaching practice, their skills, their knowledge, and their capacity as a coach by putting supervision at the core of what they do. In addition to having supervision in the collective, we also have invited people to join us for learning and development, connection, and for all things coaching triads as well. So I'm going to talk a bit more about that at the end, but I am actually going to welcome our first client showcase. So this lovely lady is going to be talking to us all about supervision and all about coaching, but she's also going to be showing a bit about her business, her practice, and she has not one, but two businesses. So they are completely different businesses, but I actually think there's a real nice relationship between the two as well. So I'm not even going to introduce her. I'm going to bring her to the stream. Good morning, Akeila.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
No worries. I didn't even want to introduce you and what you do because I think actually it comes best from you. Mm-hmm. So I would say let's talk about the first business, I think first, where and how that has led into the coaching. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, so my name's Akeila Browne, and I'm a qualified coach, NLP practitioner, and I've also got qualifications in hypnotherapy as well. I'll talk about my private coaching practice first.
Okay, go for it.
It's called Akeila Browne Coaching, and I help women and female leaders to harness their genius and monetize it. So that includes creating programs, creating services, which harness who they are, take their genius from inside them and turn it into something tangible, turn it into a product that they can then go on and sell. And the reason I created that was because I've come across so many women that were in their business that didn't love it. They were burnt out, they were struggling, and it's almost like they had forgotten who they were, what their strengths were, and all of the experience they had had previously, and were operating their business from a place of should. So I work with them not only on their mindset, but being able to actually actualize their genius and turn it into products or services that they can then sell.
And what an introduction that is. So thank you for talking about the coaching business, actually, because I didn't know that you were qualified in hypnotherapy. So that is, we always learn something new about the people that we work with. And I can now imagine you in your practice doing that because you've got such a calming tone to you. So thank you for introducing yourself and the fact that you work with female leaders to monetize their gifts. So how did you get there? How did you get to that place of working with those types of women?
Oh, it's been such a journey. I mean, I've been coaching for years. And my first introduction to personal development was when my youngest son, who's now 13, he had just been born at the time, and I remember going back to my old secondary school because I'd left my GCSE certificates there. We're talking 10 years after I'd finished school, and I went back to go and get them, and I bumped into my old head teacher, and he was just like, "I remember when you were young and you were so vibrant. You used to get into trouble sometimes, you know, I was talking, but you liked a challenge. What kind of job do you do now?" And at the time, I was working as an information manager and I was on maternity leave. And so I told him, and he was like, "Does that challenge you?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "Okay, let me ask you another question. Are you happy?" And at that point, I was possibly at the lowest I've ever felt. I was newly single, single mom of three, and I was in a job that I just didn't like. And he said to me that what would happen if you were doing all the things that you used to do when you were younger. And from that point, I went home and I just started on my personal development journey, and it literally changed my life. And I thought, well, if I'm like this, how many other women are there like this who are doing things in their life that they just don't love? And throughout my journey, what I found more and more of with other women, including myself, was that we were selling ourselves short. We weren't charging the amount that we could charge. We were still operating as employees in our businesses. And if you come from any kind of background where perhaps you haven't had the best upbringing, if you come from a marginalized society, there is that mindset, well, actually, am I worth it? Can I really do this? Can I really have a business that I love based on who I really am? And so I started to make the changes myself, working with tons of coaches, mentors, just learning how to put my essence, Akeila Browne, into the work that I do and really step up to the plate. And so I did that for myself and then started to work with other women to help them do the same thing. And it's taken 13 years to get here, but it's been a beautiful, sometimes difficult, but amazing journey along the way.
You've said a lot there, and the first thing I'm going to pick up on is the impact of our teachers. Some people have a positive, negative experience of their education experience. But how lovely for someone who has seen you grow up to see you in your adulthood.
Yeah.
And then to ask you a question which could change the trajectory of your life.
It did.
And then for you then to ask those questions as well to your clients to change their trajectory. And this is why coaching is contagious. I say that. The impact of it is never ending. And as one person can impact another, that continual impact relationship can just span as far as we can even imagine. You also said something about happiness, and you spoke about the reality there of like, it hasn't always been like, you know, and people need to know this as well. There is highs and lows in this business world and the business journey. So thank you for sharing that. So what's next? Take me on the journey now. So we've got Akeila Browne Coaching, 13 years of working with women and supporting women.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
So whilst I was building my coaching business, the majority of my working life was actually spent working with young people. So working with young people who were homeless. I worked in youth offending teams. I also worked in education as well. And I tended to work with a lot of young people from inner city areas. So I live in Birmingham now. However, I have lived in London and worked a lot in Peckham and southeast London. And I remember working with young people who were homeless in South London, and the company I worked for, they had a model of mentoring where it was, well, you tell the young person what to do, they then do it, and we can tick off a little sheet and say, this is how we've helped them. But what I noticed at that point was because there was zero autonomy, it's almost like the young people were continuously relying on their support workers. If their support worker wasn't around, then the young people would feel, well, I don't have the power to do this because I was just following what someone else told me to. So then I started to introduce some of the coaching techniques that I'd used for myself to work with the young people. And what I noticed was the more autonomy you gave a young person, the more that you asked them questions to help them clear their own path, was the stronger that they felt, and the more focused that they became as well. So I remember, because I studied my master's in 2016, and I remember asking myself the question as part of my dissertation that if we were to use the same type of coaching that CEOs, executives, sports people, and the rich and famous use, and use those techniques and those approaches on young people who have never had any exposure to coaching, what would happen? And so I trialed it. And out of that, Elevated Minds, a personal development organization, was born. And I'm the co-founder of it alongside my mum. And we founded Elevated Minds as a CIC organization, so a social enterprise that helps young people at risk of exclusion by using coaches who are qualified and experienced to help young people improve their emotional intelligence, which then improves their resilience and their decision making as well. So alongside building my coaching practice on one hand, I'm also working with Elevated Minds as well to create social impact and social change in the lives of a lot of young people.
And now it makes sense to why you started us off where you did and took us into this path. So thank you for doing that, because now I can see the journey. And obviously, you know, Sarah and I are both former teachers, and I absolutely love your Instagram for Elevated Minds. Whenever I see, oh God, I'm always there liking and loving and laughing behind the scenes, because I'm so passionate about young people receiving the best.
Yeah.
And it's that equity there, because we know we all have different starting points in life. So it's about making sure that we have access to the same opportunities as everyone else.
Absolutely.
And so a CIC is, I guess, the perfect model, because it's built for the community.
Yeah.
So yeah, please go and follow Elevated Mind CIC if anyone is watching this, especially if you are in, I've got someone perfect actually, it's in the youth work industry in North London as a coach. Who I'm going to connect you with, because I can see a lot of synergy there, and I think that they could do some great work with you as well. So we spoke at the beginning of this, and you actually mentioned that you were in supervision.
Yeah.
Way before. So before we even go into supervision, I'm just going to do a shout out to Jojo Graham. So Jojo Graham is the founder of Business the Simple Way. And Jojo has a coach and mentor certification, and that is how Akeila is connected with the Catalysts. So as part of that certification, the coaches, the trainee coaches, trainee mentors, they get access to supervision for the first 3 months of their training, and then 3 months after. And so Akeila is in my supervision group, and we have been supervising or having a supervision relationship since January. It's gone really quickly. Flown by. But actually, Akeila said something really interesting, and she said that she was in supervision way before. So talk to me about your journey in supervision, and tell everyone else about how you started and where you're at now.
Yeah, sure. So when I began coaching years ago, we're talking about 2010, 2011, I'd never had a supervisor. I'd always done a lot of learning, a lot of courses on my own, but never someone to kind of delve into my brain and what I was thinking. And it wasn't until I was studying my master's in 2016 that we were all told you have to have a supervisor as part of the course. And I remember thinking at the time, well, I'm not the level that I would actually need a supervisor right now. I haven't even graduated yet. This is just the beginning. And they were like, no, you need one. And I remember a lecturer saying to me that a coach can only ever take their clients as deeply as they've taken themselves. And so I approach supervision with that kind of frame of mind, that if I want to take my clients deeper and not do surface level coaching, I need to take myself deeper as well and look at my shadows, look at things that are holding me back, look at why I've chosen to use certain approaches, certain tools, expand my toolkit as well. And so I was introduced to supervision back in 2016, and it was an amazing experience. And although I learned so much in the master's course, it was phenomenal. it was actually the addition of supervision which helped me to develop as a coach even more. So that was amazing. And I had that supervisor for, I think, 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that we worked together. So that was amazing. I've had a couple of supervisors on and off since. But obviously being introduced yourself through JoJo's program, which was phenomenal, by the way. And then to be introduced to yourself, it's been fantastic.
Mm.
It really, really has. And it's just brought back why supervision is actually so important. As it's easy to think, well, you can let it slide, it's something I'll do later. But actually you don't realize how much it impacts the work that you do with your clients by being supervised yourself. So that's pretty much been the journey so far.
So this is really interesting because a lot of people think that supervision is a new thing, just as people think coaching is a new thing.
Mhm.
And these are not new professions. These are not new modalities. These are just modalities that have increased awareness in the public, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So to know that your lecturer invited you to do supervision like in the middle of your course is really refreshing, because it shows that not only in coaching, but in therapy, in medicine, in education, supervision is really, really important.
Mhm.
But what I love the most is that you had the same supervisor for that long,
Yeah.
because relationships are important, rapport is important. And I do encourage people to try out different supervisors, experience different groups, different settings, different ways of doing or engaging in supervision. I think that's really important. But it's
Mm.
great to hear that you started off quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So no pressure then on me then, Akeila. But you came into the Catalyst supervision. Let's hear more about your experience in that, because we were quite a small group, aren't we? But yeah, let's hear more of your experience in that.
So it was actually my first time doing group supervision. I've never done that before. No, all of the supervision I've done has been on a one-to-one basis.
Right.
So I didn't know what to expect at all from the supervision. I was open to it, but I just didn't know what to expect. And it was a pleasant surprise. Um, there's so much that you can learn by observing what someone else brings to the supervision, but also the way that you had everyone else within the group involved in that supervision as well was phenomenal. Because I think it's fantastic to observe and be a learner through observation, but it's the taking part, the practicing, the fine-tuning your awareness skills, your observation skills, your feedback skills, which has also helped in my private practice as well. So it's been fantastic. Just the level of questioning as well that you have, Rebecca, is just completely different. I think I was crying in my first session. Was it the first session?
I'm not going to out anyone for tears, because I'm just going to add here as a caveat that there may be tears, but they're welcome and with love, right?
Absolutely. And it wasn't tears like, oh my gosh, what's happening? It was more like a release. And it was that feeling of we're sitting on Zoom, but you've got me in this space where you're actually holding me right there for me to be able to talk through anything that's happened with regards to my coaching or me as a person. And that was what I found invaluable, because as a woman in business, as a coach in business, I find that it can be quite an isolating journey. And yes, I've worked with Jojo, and Jojo's phenomenal, and that's how I met you. The course is phenomenal. Jojo's phenomenal. There's something about supervision which I don't feel I get anywhere else, and that was what I was able to experience within that container that you had, and it's been the most supportive, tight knit container, which has helped me just my skills literally just to go like that. And I felt like anything was possible before, but I feel like it's not just words now. It's, well, actually, anything is possible because everything I've experienced, I've put it into action. I've grounded myself and I've moved forward with it. And, just being with the other ladies as well, it's been amazing. Really amazing.
Thank you. I think with your group, you've taught me how important it is to have the supervisees who are really invested in each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I turn up to your group, even before that, I know that you guys have each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're really invested in each other's growth, each other's
Yeah.
well-being, welfare, like all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you, Akeila, even I love it when I know that you're looking down at your notepad because you're making notes because you really just want to get your question like right so that you can really help that other person, and that's
Yeah.
reciprocated back as well.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for engaging, for participating, for just being you and being fully present, just as well as we all are in the session.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah said, shout out to Jojo, phenomenal and absolutely inspiring to hear your story, Akeila. And I do think it is really inspiring to hear from your journey. And as a woman of colour, I'm going to bring that in because I think we need to talk about this more publicly, what we do behind the scenes, what's possible. You know, we need to champion each other. Because if we don't do that for each other, then who's going to do it for us?
Absolutely.
So we're coming to the end, and if in a simple sentence you were to recommend supervision for someone that's thinking it's not quite right for me, or I'm a new coach, I'm still training, you know, all the questions that come up, what would you say to them?
I would say just go ahead and do it. Whether you've had one client or you've had 1,000 clients, supervision is invaluable. So go ahead and do it now.
Thank you, Akeila. And what's next for you?
Oh, well, you've actually inspired me. I'm thinking of studying and to become a supervisor. I'm
I'm so
actually
excited.
considering it. So there's quite a few things, in terms of the businesses. I'm hoping to move my business online to become more digital. Elevated Minds is expanding from London into Birmingham. So we're doing a lot of work there. And I would seriously love to study, take the supervisor course as well. So that's what's next for me.
We need to talk. We need to talk. Make sure you reach out, because what we've noticed, and through our research of speaking to people in the education sector, is that actually sometimes supervision is more appropriate than the coaching. Sometimes we don't need to be goal focused. Sometimes, as you've just said, we need to just be held in that moment, in the here and the now. And I really do believe that each modality has its benefits: coaching, counseling, teaching, mentoring, like all of that. Yeah, I've deeply fallen in love with supervision. So I'm glad that you have too.
Well, I have as well now.
Oh, I'm
So
so happy. So the best place to connect with you, Akeila, where would that be?
that will be on Instagram. You can follow my account at Akeila Browne, and Brown's with the E on the end as well. Or you can also follow at Elevated Minds as well on Instagram as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I am going to pop all of the links in the bottom, but if you go to the posts as well, you will see at the bottom I've tagged Elevated Minds and Akeila Browne Coaching as well. So thank you so much, Akeila. I appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll catch up really, really soon.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
So I am so excited that we did that showcase, and that is the last one for today. Please do go and follow Akeila and check out what she's up to, and contact her, connect, cheer each other on, champion each other. For those people that are considering supervision, Sarah and I have doors open to the collective, which is closing today at 5 p.m. I'm going to put the link at the bottom there for you. I know Sarah has already been live today to talk about that, but it genuinely is closing today at 5 o'clock. This is no technique or tactic for marketing. That's just not Sarah and I. We've both got backgrounds in education. We're not sales gurus here. The reason why is because our supervision runs for 6 sessions, as Akeila and Jen and Neetha and all the other coaches can attest to. It runs for 6 sessions. We need to get the groups closed and set up, and those 6 sessions will run from July to December. We will open doors in September for that next cohort. The reason why the investment is going up is because we've just had a really exciting business to business partnership, and we're fully transparent here. We've agreed a specific rate going forward, which means that we don't ever want to be in breach of that. So please do book a call with us, chat, connect. And if it's not right for you now, that's more than fine. Just hop on the wait list so that we know that we can get in contact with you nearer the time to September. But that's it for me from now. I've got a call in 2 minutes with somebody who's possibly thinking about joining. So love to you all. See you over in the collective, and have a beautiful, beautiful week. Take care.